So every time I come here, there's something new to see, there's something new to feel, and I have been coming here from the time it was barren land. So it is such a pleasure that this campus has come up so well, and it's an equally a pleasure to see that NISM, how it has shaped up in the last 4 or 5 years. It is beyond recognition. So all of you deserve credit for whatever NISM has done. I am thankful to Sandeep once again for calling me to talk about national strategy in financial education. How I will approach this topic is not really the way I would have approached it 6 months back. Perhaps 6 months back, I would have gone on to the strategy and talked about the strategy alone. That's about all. But today, I will talk to you about So today I'll talk to you about this document from a rather personal point of view, or rather as a personal journey. You just don't sit on a laptop or on a desktop and hammer out a strategy. What happens that it has happened to you over a period of time through a series of disparate incidents, events, thinkings, what has gone through. And all of those things combine to get yourself into some kind of a logical exposition of whatever you have felt throughout these years. So I will go much longer back than even what Sandeep talked about when we joined Reserve Bank of India. I hope I am more audible now. Okay, now I see smiles. Very good. Thank you. We haven't lost anything much till now. The first incidents, it's not incidents. I'll just tell you that many of you might have heard of the great novelist in Hindi, Munshi Premchand. He is considered to be kind of Tolstoy of Hindi literature. So he has got his magnum opus, which is called Godan. Now this novel is about a lot of things, and it is said to be a definitive commentary on the way agrarian policies were run those days, the colonial exploitation, and a lot of other things. Incidentally, what happened, when I read this novel, about the same time we were taught compounded interest in the school. So the protagonist of this novel is called Hori. So this fellow, his tragedy was that he did everything right and nothing came out right in the end. He died extremely indebted, extremely impoverished, and the last thing which we had, a calf, was sold off or given off as Godan in the end. So I saw, when I was, that time I was 12 or 13-year-old, so I saw the entire, I didn't understand the colonial exploitation and agrarian things and all those things. I saw the entire novel as an issue of compounding. That this guy, had he understood the power of compounding, he would have never got into this trap. Had he understood the interest rates, he would have not got into it. So I started with this point of view, that the entire Hindi literature, the magnum opus, was the issue of compounded interest. Well, these things continued, lot of things happened. There were, my own father, I found him, he was one of the most articulate and very knowledgeable, extremely knowledgeable person, very well read and all those things. But he almost kind of prided himself in not being financially savvy. And throughout his life, he was totally risk averse, and all his money always was lying in a saving bank account. And that was about all. And he never believed in taking a single paisa of debt. So whatever anybody could convince him, he didn't realize that by not taking an appropriate amount of debt, he is losing quite a lot. So the attitude towards risk, all those things, these things came from my own family, and not this that I am blaming my father. I have inherited the same characteristics of being extremely risk averse. Well, that was another thing. These things continued. I was working in financial sector. I was in commercial bank, then I was in Reserve Bank, then I came to Security and Exchange Board of India. Dr. Reddy somewhere in 2004, if I am correct, started with this issue of financial education in a big way, and we started taking these things seriously. We did a lot of things. Then what happened, that what I was finding, that as I was attending various programs of financial education which was run by some bank or Reserve Bank of India, or by a broker, or by a stock exchange, or by a mutual fund, they looked more like a selling exercise of that sector. That somebody said that mutual fund is a great thing, absolutely great thing. Close your eyes, don't look at any asset class, mutual fund is the thing. So I said okay, because I took it as a compliment, because those days I was in charge of the mutual funds area, and I thought that, well, guys are saying that whatever SEBI has done is great in the area of mutual fund, and Sandeep also complimented that mutual fund is the safest product available right now. So I took originally as a commendation. But in one of the programs, it happened in Delhi. So there was one guy, he was making a presentation about mutual funds, and he made a statement saying this thing, that look here, by not investing in mutual fund, you are losing so much of money, this, that, and all those things, and that I have made a calculation that had you invested 10,000 rupees in certain date, after about 20 years, or I don't remember the years, then he said that you would be having 400 crore rupees now. I said, well, mutual funds are great, I knew, but they are that great, I never knew. So after I didn't want to interrupt him during the program. So after the program was over, so I, accosted him and I said that, look here, you have made this kind of egregious statement saying this thing, that 10,000 rupees becomes 400 crore rupees. How? Oh. So he said, no, I have made calculations. How you have made calculations? So he took out his laptop and all those things. So the sum total was that 10,000 rupees you invest, and every day you invest in the one thing, and which in the end of the day is delivering you the highest NAV on the end of the day. The next day you again choose, because he has got the back data. So he has fitted in those data that if every investment every day is made into the highest paying product, so 10,000 rupees can definitely become 400 crore rupees. So that was one kind of a rude awakening, that this is something need to be done now about the way the financial education is going. Then anybody is speaking whatever he likes. And then in some of the programs there was kind of a blatant sale pitch that come to me, I'll give you the best advice. So that was another thing. The final thing which happened, which kind of a triggered off writing of the national strategy, happened in Toronto. That was INFI, the International Network for Financial Education. They had a conference there, and I had gone there. to attend the conference. So I was, there were some committees were there before the conference, and I had reached a little earlier. So one of the committee meetings got over, and I recognized one deputy governor of Reserve Bank of India coming out and just spewing fire and firing everybody around him. That what kind of situation you people have created. So what kind of situation had been created was this, that when they presented the national strategies of various countries, so India presented 2 national strategies. Well, how could you have 2 national strategies? So this was a kind of a thing. Well, he asked that how these 2 strategies are there. So he said one has been given by SEBI and one is given by RBI. So there are 2 national strategies. So that was the end of it. So then I met the deputy governor there, and then I promised him that, look here, this situation will not go on for a long time. We will have a national strategy. So it was at that point of time I told him that, okay, in 15 days we will have our first draft. So this is how we started drafting the national strategy, and lot of things which were happening over these years, they came into play. Having drafted the first part of the strategy was the easier part of it. I think in anything, sitting down on your computer and writing down some 10,000 words is the easiest part of the game. So the real thing starts after that. So then we had to take people on board. We have to take everybody on board. So slowly we started taking the regulators on board, and very fortunately the Deputy Governor of Reserve Bank was very supportive, and but for his support this won't have happened. And then we kept on selling the idea to various people. We talked to various ministries, the secretaries of various ministries, sold the ideas to them. We met the Central Board of Secondary Education and ICSE, the other board. A lot of people we met, and since we happened to be in FSDC, and there was an FSDC mechanism available to really bless it as a national strategy. Otherwise, just because SEBI and RBI agree on something, it doesn't mean that it becomes a national strategy. So this mechanism of FSDC had been created a few years before. So since this mechanism was there, so finally this strategy was approved by the FSDC, and as per the recommendations of the national strategy, the NCFE was to be incubated within the NISM. One of the things which I have forgotten not to tell you, one of the disparate things which triggered into it. During my first few years in SEBI, there was one big issue which was coming, that the distributors of mutual funds, they were calling themselves, and they still call themselves, as the financial advisors. They call themselves financial advisors, and there were a lot of things what used to happen, that they used to get 2.25% upfront commission the moment they sold a mutual fund of 100 rupees. So only 96.75 rupees or 97.75 rupees was credited to the account of the person, and 2.25 came directly to the person who sold it. So there was a big interest for this man to keep on selling more and more product. So there was an industry of new financial offerings. So every time what the distributor will tell, that look here, I will sell you this product, this is a very nice product, and the moment 10 rupees product had a NAV of 12 rupees, then he will tell the guy that look here, another fantastic product has come which is again selling at par at 10 rupees, and therefore you invest, you liquidate this amount of your investment and then buy this new product again. No, so then there was a kind of a constant churning. So he paid the entry load, he paid the exit load, he paid the AMC fees and everything. So everybody was happy in the transaction except the guy who had invested it. So this is how this was happening. So SEBI took a view that you cannot do the two things. You cannot be an agent of the manufacturer, you cannot be a seller and an advisor at the same point of time. So this was the stand which we took, and we said that we will have a separate investment advisors regulations, and if you are advising, that you should advise only, you should not take any money from the manufacturer of the product. Otherwise what will happen, that you will have an obvious conflict of interest, that you will sell the product, that product which gets you the maximum commission. So you are not squarely on the side of this. Issue was recognized by many people. Not only that India or SEBI was the first one to realize, the FSA was to realize it, but the distributor lobby was always so strong that even FSA, they kept on dragging their feet on this thing. I mean, I think Durham University people are there, they can tell. And then they said that okay, you can do it, but you can provide basic financial advice to the distributors, can provide the basic financial advice. I mean, I really don't understand that how a basic financial advice will be different from advanced financial advice, but this is how something was done. But SEBI took a view, very, very strong view, and still that is resented, that these are irreconcilable conflict of interest situation, that you cannot sell the product and be advisor on the same product at the same time. So this was also one of the issues. Then the criticism was that until and unless the seller tells about things, so how the person is to know what he is supposed to buy. So certain amount of education is necessary. So he is giving an advice, and that advice is a must. And this is what perhaps FSA was calling as a basic financial advice. In one of the meetings, I said that, look here, this is not a correct thing, because you go out to a sari shop to buy saris. So the sari salesman will tell you a lot of things. So much knowledge he will give you. He will tell you which kind of a sari is made in which part of the country, and what's the great thing about this thing, and whether it is suiting you or not. It suits, ma'am, your personality. It suits this way, that way. This color suits you, that color suits you, in everything. All that knowledge the salesman is given, but no lady ever thinks that the sari salesman is his kutre advisor. Everybody knows pretty well that salesman is a salesman, and what he is doing is a sales talk, and whatever information is given is necessary for selling the sari. Okay, he is selling you a kota sari, so you know there's a kota sari. That much is right. So I said the same thing, that look at any talk which a distributor is making is not necessarily a financial advice. A financial advice must be segregated from the basic thing about the product which the seller is supposed to tell the buyer. So this was another of the things which came into the national strategy. Now with all those things, now let us come back to national strategy. So the first thing what we said in the national strategy, that is where Munshi Premchand and the Godan and Hori come. We said that, look here, the national strategy, we are aiming the entire population of India. We are not saying segment which is banking segment, we are not segmenting it at all. The national strategy is meant for 125 crore, 130 crore Indians. That is about all. Then as a offshoot of that, we said that National Strategy on Financial Education says that financial literacy is needed maximum for those people who are illiterate. You need not be literate. The way we should proceed is this, that one need not be literate to be financially literate. Because I cannot wait till my adult education program takes off and people are literate, then I go and teach them financial education. No. So this is one thing which national strategy says, that it is for the illiterate also. We must do it for the illiterate also. How do we do it? There are a lot of ways of doing it. There are audio visuals, there are ditties, there are you can have lot of lyrics, rhymes, so by which you should be able to give them some thumb rules how to go about the things. So that was another one thing which has come into the national strategy. The second thing what we said, that this kind of a confusion, what is happening, that everybody is talking about financial education. Now, and everybody is talking whatever he likes. If there is a mutual fund, its distributor or anybody or broker, they conduct a program, they say whatever they like. So it is not very clear that where does financial education stop and where does investor education begin, so on and so forth. So we said that very clear segments should be made, that who is doing what is the role of anybody. So we defined that the financial education should be divided into three parts. So one was the basic financial education. The basic financial education, as you all know, is about the importance of saving, the basic attitude, the risk, the power of compounding and so on. All those things we do for the basic financial education. But then there is a sector-specific financial education. Because when you come to the securities market, it is a very specialized market too, and you need specialized programs for talking about these things. Similarly, insurance is a complicated subject. Insurance cannot be covered in the basic financial education. So there should be a sector-specific financial education. That is the second component of the financial education. The third component, what we said in the national strategy, is the product education. Because product education is the most important part of any sale. I have got another lot of, everybody has got pet theories, and the more you grow older, the more pet theories you have got. So another over the pet theories which I have, that the kind of things which we have been saying, that financial products are special. That is a kind of, and therefore you need a separate regime for financial education where the distributor can give the financial education also. So that is the one stream of thought which says that financial products are different. So I am not of the view, I always say that a product is a product. Then there was a lot of things were told to me that no, there are push products and there are pull products. That mutual fund is a push product. Insurance is a push product, and there are the pull products. So the FD is a pull product. So unless you push the product through lot of commissions, the mutual funds and insurances are not going to sell. So I had lot of heated debates and lot of heated exchanges, where in one of the meetings I said that there are no push product and pull products, there are good products and bad products. So a good product will attract the investors of their own. A bad product, you need to push down their throat. So this is about all. So what we said, that so far as these products are concerned, these products must be explained well. This is true with any product. Now, you buy a fridge. It's only 10,000 rupees or 12,000 or 15,000 rupees. It is a must of a protocol for the product manufacturer that he says that, look here, the distributor can just sell you the fridge. The fridge will come and be delivered to your home. But Videocon or anybody's engineer will come, will install it, and then he will give you a demo. This is a established protocol in all electrical products which are sold in India. Now, what is this? This is exactly product education. He is telling you how to install it. He is telling you what you should do and what you should not do. He is telling you that don't put boiling things into your fridge directly. He is telling you a lot of things about that how you can save energy on the fridge. So these are part of the demo product, and then he gets you a signature saying this demo has been given to me satisfactorily. I said, what? Why can't you have the same thing in the financial products? When somebody has sold you the product, he must tell you about this product completely, and he must also tell you what are the other products available, and let the buyer make a decision that what suits him the best. So this is what happens in case you go and buy any physical product. So why should we have the same kind of thing in physical product? Global financial crisis also raised this issue of suitability and appropriateness. That the product which is being sold, whether it is suitable for that person or not, and if the seller is not able to prove that the product was suitable, because lot of complicated derivatives, which we had another problem somewhere in 2008 about the forex derivatives being sold in India. They are to unsuspecting people, and they were so complicated that when we called these treasury people and asked them that you explain us the product. So each product they used to take about half an hour to explain. He said that, look here, you are talking to the people who have been dealing with the derivatives for long time, and it takes us half an hour to understand your product. How do you expect one businessman from Kochi or somewhere else, or Coimbatore? Actually, Coimbatore fellows were caught into this thing in a big way. So this is what suitability and appropriateness is there. So product education was the third component. So what we said that there are three components of it: basic financial education, then there is sector specific financial education, and then there is the product education. So he said that who will do what. So on the role clarity, we said that the basic financial education can be, it's like a yajna, the big yajna is going on, financial education. Anybody can participate, anybody should participate, everybody should participate. But you cannot do yajna in whatever way you like. Anybody can do yajna, all right, but you cannot do it the way you like. There are, the scriptures lay down exactly how this yajna is to be performed. He said that the NCFE will lay down the scripture that this is how this yajna is to be performed. When you are giving the basic financial education, then you are supposed to tell these things in this sequence and in only in this sequence. Towards this end, the SEBI and NCFE had prepared, I understand, a big presentation out of which people can adapt slides to suit their audience. But what we are insisting that the freedom to impart basic financial education does not mean freedom to say whatever you like. So that the product of, I mean, I shouldn't use the word product because it's confused with financial product. The outcome, the presentation should be what SEBI or NCFE has approved. You can adapt from that thing, and that's about all. That's about the basic financial education. Anybody can provide it, whosoever likes. So, but according to a certain way which has been specified. On the investor education, now we said that let regulators and the industry associations, let them provide the sector specific education. So SEBI, for example, provides the investor education. So after NCFE especially has come, SEBI is now concentrating more and more on the investor education side rather than the basic financial education, because the NCFE and a lot of other people are taking care of that thing. So that is the investor education, and the product education comes from the other side. So that was the basic structure. So rest other things you are all aware that what it should contain. It is there in the NCFE guidelines, and that you should be talking about knowledge, about skills, about the attitude, about behavior, and all those things. Those things have been covered. The modes of delivery have been covered in the financial in the National Strategy for Financial Education. The targets, we should target different segments differently. For example, one of the biggest and most profitable target group is the school students, and that is that's the most profitable, because once you are teaching a school student, you are not teaching that student only, you are teaching the entire family. The mother also reads the same books, the father also reads the same book. Once, in fact, when you say that 3 lakh people are appearing, so do only 3 lakh students get educated? No, at least 9 get educated, because both parents are equally involved when the child is preparing for the NCLAT examination. So that is a very, very important thing, but that is not the only thing. There is a very, very risky part which we have still not touched. It is the people who are going to retire or who have just retired. These people are the most vulnerable people, and I have seen people who have retired as general managers in commercial banks believing some cock and bull story and putting their entire provident fund into some stupid scheme and losing out on it. So financial education, it is some employers like Reserve Bank, they give pre-retirement training where they teach a lot about where to invest, where not to invest, and all those things, but not every employer is doing it. So that is one very big segment which is to be covered. The second segment which I talked earlier was financial literacy for the illiterate. So that segment is still we are to cover. We are covering to certain extent the certain segments of in-service executives that we are covering. We are covering through various programs, defense personnel, because defense personnel are also very vulnerable so far as the financial dealings are concerned. They are target of lot of schemes by nefarious people. So these people are, then there is a segment of housewives which is to be addressed to, because this demonetization has shown that they run the risk of just stashing away a 500,000 rupee note in their drawers, and then getting into it that the Prime Minister has to say, okay, up to 2.5 lakh rupees will be okay. So that kind of a situation. But what they have lost is whatever interest earning or appreciation that could have happened over last 10-15 years, they have totally lost it. And the inflation, they have totally has eaten away into their savings. So housewives also need so all these things have been covered in National Strategy for Financial Education. And I think I'm keeping you too long from your well-deserved dinner. Thank you very much.